Hi, guys, and welcome to my possibly most philosophical video yet, in which I am going to try and, well, not really answer the question in the title, but just share my thoughts about it and my personal take on it. That being said, though, I also don't have a definite answer to that question yet for myself. So I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts or reading your thoughts in the comments. And yeah, let's begin. So, firstly, there are, of course, a lot of theories about this and a lot of religions out there that try to answer this question for us, right? And as someone who grew up, well, how do you say, like in Western civilization or something like that, in Germany, where back then in the 90s and the early 2000s, when I think, at least as I experienced it, like Christianity still had a somewhat, let's say, like a medium important, however, I'm lacking the right words right now, like a medium importance in general society. Like it was not that that traditional anymore, but still, for example, throughout all of my school years, I think we there would always be like dates where we'd go to church together, or at least we're supposed to Christian things and celebrate Christian traditional yeah, holidays and stuff like that, right? We still do to this day, like most, I think, Western countries do. Well, to be fair though, by the time I got to the ninth grade, I think, like when I was how old was I back then? I don't know, like 14 or something. I was actually given the choice, to choose philosophy lessons, basically, or the philosophy class instead of the religious classes, right? Um, so I was basically officially Catholic until then, um, on paper at least. But yeah, I never really identified with that so much. So, of course, I took the philosophy class instead. And what was where was this going? Yeah, I think I just wanted to explain a little bit about my background. So that's the societal or school background, right? And also for my private background, I'd say, like, it was kind of the same. Like there were some traditional influences, and especially or more so from my father's side of the family. But overall, also, like, religion or Christianity didn't play that huge of a role in our family. And as soon as I could decide for myself, I would, like, distance myself from it, basically, and also not go to church anymore. That, at least not that often, as often as I used to as a child, when, yeah, basically my father would decide about this. All that being said, I still kind of, read a lot of those Bible stories as a child. There are those child-friendly versions, I think, or something of them. I don't know. I read a lot of them, and I often found them kind of interesting or, yeah, fascinating. And yeah, I can say that till this day, I still sometimes have this, I'd say, pretty, um, yeah, probably Christian or at least monotheist religious way of thinking of God as basically an old man or just, yeah, a father figure basically, which is something that I'm kind of trying to get rid of, but it is kind of, I think, embedded in a lot of our subconscious minds, right? um, and so, yeah, that is also, I think, one of the reasons why a lot of people do have a somewhat maybe problematic or ambiguous relationship to what they think or who they think God is. Because, of course, one version of describing God could be like something like an authority figure, also, like, like make making him into a very, yeah, basically almost human being or superhuman being that gets to decide about our fate, and that we are sometimes or all the time, regarding on what exactly you believe, are powerless against. Or even, if you're like very um don't quote me on anything, like, I don't know that much about this religious stuff, but if you're like old school religious, you might even be afraid of God, of course, because he's portrayed as a very vindictive and sometimes cruel God, right? Who punishes people who don't basically do what he says or he tells them to do.